Books are the thing that has been the thread throughout my entire life that allows me to see a world larger than my own.
Before we did Rediscovered Books, I was engineering manager out at Micron, supervising a surface analysis lab.
I was a school teacher. I was teaching elementary music.
We wanted to do a type of store that would have a variety of literature from a huge variety of authors, but also have a place where people could come and feel comfortable, and a place where they could be part of a community. We were very much inspired by The Great Good Place.
Mm-hmm. It's a social sciences book that's all about the third places that people have, that where people of different viewpoints can come together and exchange ideas and have just these casual connections that, as research is showing us, is just an integral part of how a community relates to each other and creates caring.
Books are one of the few places where people of all walks of life congregate.
We firmly believe the world is a better place if more people read more books of greater variety.
About, reading more books about more people. We did about 2 years of traveling around. Our children were much younger then. Our son was born when I left Micron, and our daughter was older but still a child. So we would travel around and look at these other stores, talk to the owners, talk to the employees, and we had this idea of this is what it's going to be. But part of it was like, we've got a Barnes & Noble in Boise, and they do X amount of sales, and so we should be able to easily ease into that. We found a place that we really liked, right next to a movie theater, and went about, changing it over from what it had been, which was a bridal store, into a bookstore. Opened the doors, and then realized we had to do a lot more to create the community that we wanted to create. So the first couple of years were a lot about us reaching out to people, going outside of the walls of the bookstore to try to find the people who were looking for that sort of community and inviting them in.
Mm-hmm. The Early Bookstore was both of us tag teaming at the store because one of us was home taking care of Dennis, who was 2 at the time. The Early Bookstore was all about discovering ARCs, finding out the joy of reading an advanced reader copy. I still remember the first one that I read was The Name of the Wind, and I was completely awed by that. I went to the trade show for the first time, and on that trade show I got Mysterious Benedict and the Invention of Hugo Cabret, and I thought that I was in heaven.
The other part of the Early Bookstore was, because we were smaller as a staff, was really working with some amazing people very closely, because there weren't enough of us that we could say, this is your job and only you're doing this. Everybody had to do a little bit of everything. And realizing that not just we're going to have a community of great customers, but we were going to have a community of great colleagues, people we would get to work day in and day out, who would love what we were doing as much as we did.
The move to downtown was in 2010, but we really started talking about it in 2008. We were recognizing, after being there for 2 years, that the location we had wasn't as good as we thought it was. Just like every new entrepreneur, there are things you figure out as you go through it.
We had always had kind of in the back of our mind that we wanted to be in the downtown area, but it's also very difficult to start in the downtown areas. Any new business, whether you're a bookstore or a restaurant or whatever you're doing. We suddenly realized we had to move 30,000 books and 100 bookcases and all of these things, and we really couldn't afford to be closed for a month or 2 to do it. So people always say, if there's anything I can do. So we started making phone calls. Do you want to come and spend a day putting books into boxes? And then spend another day taking books out of the boxes. And we closed the store on Overland, moved everything, and opened the store in downtown Boise in less than a week. Which I look at now and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe we did that.
Yeah, we got the keys, we did the renovations, we got it all done it was so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of people who came down and did a lot of alphabetizing, because
Yes.
30,000 books is a lot of alphabetizing.
And even if you put them into the boxes in the right order, you're still So in 2015, we had the opportunity to expand the store, because one of the stores that was it was Lux Clothing Gallery. Their store was adjacent to our store with an interior wall between the two, and they were moving out. And we went to our landlord and said we'd really like to expand because the space was getting a little tight. And they said, sure, let's knock down a wall. And so it was a chance for us to remodel. It was a chance for us to expand. We added about another 70% onto the floor space. It gave us an entrance onto both of the main downtown streets.
It gave us a cool shape.
Yeah.
Because now we have this funky L shape, so you can always find something to explore. We put in laminate floors that look like wood, and that changed the whole feel of the store. It was great.
And it was also a chance for us to open up to our customers and say, hey, we're doing this. This is something that you want to support. And once again, our customers came out and said, yes, we think you should do this. We want more bookstore. It was kind of it was exciting. It was kind of scary because you're making another big step.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the day we're able to take the things down and let people into the other half of the store, just all of our regulars coming in and oohing and eyeing, and we love it. We love having the extra space.
I love that there's a surprise around the corner.
Yeah, people come in and they're like, wow, this place is a lot bigger than I thought, because if you're looking in either set of windows, you can't see the entire store. One of the things that most people don't know is that when Laura and I were originally talking about what kind of bookstore we wanted to open, Rediscovered Books, both in its Overland Park location and the downtown location, is very similar to what Laura thought would be a perfect bookstore. And I have always been the type of person who loves used bookstores. So Rainbow Books, which is a longtime Boise institution, was much closer to my initial thought of what we would be doing. We were in the process of talking about possibly expanding anyway.
Mm-hmm. We had started looking for a second location in the western part of the valley.
And Laura had the opportunity to go over and talk to the owners of Rainbow Books, and they had told her that they were looking to retire and hadn't been able to find anyone to take over the store. So I got a call, Bruce, I think we might be buying another bookstore. And I was like, huh, what? And sure enough, when we sat down and talked with them and talked about what they had done and what our philosophy was, we realized we could take a store like Rainbow Books and make it into something that would fit in with what we wanted to do. But when we took it over, suddenly we realized that we had 60,000 books, that none of them were in the computer.
They were none, yes. None of it was, because we are very tech friendly, and
a lot of bookstores aren't, and you don't have to be. The great thing about indie bookstores is they're all different. But it was about 6 months of moving and figuring out and sorting and doing all the things. 400
boxes in our house.
We ended up pulling a lot of books out to sort them and put them back in. So there was a time over that summer where every place in our house had a stack of boxes of books on.
About probably 400, maybe 500.
It was an awful lot of books. I love being able to take an afternoon and work over there because it's still, it speaks to me when I walk in that type of used bookstore. I like it very much, and I love the fact that we have it. So as Laura had mentioned, we had been looking in the West Valley. When we moved to Boise in 1990, there were about 15 used bookstores and a number of independent used bookstores all over the valley, and that's a change we've seen over the years. And when all of there were 3 fantastic used bookstores in Nampa, all of which closed over about an 18-month period. And we had been looking in Nampa, we've been looking in Meridian, but then Laura was in Caldwell, and once again I got a call, hey, I think I found a place.
Ironically, that's not the place we're in right now. We after we looked at another place and we're like, oh, this is more project than we can do. But then they brought this one to our attention, and moving out to Caldwell allows us to have a more inclusive view of the valley, because the Treasure Valley is it is its own place, and it is a rich and diverse place, and we felt really strongly that having a bookstore kind of at either end of it means that we're going to be better at being a more inclusive place because we'll have roots in two places. As we got to know the plaza here and the investment they've made in creating a community space that has events, that brings people together, this was really clear to us that being a part of this community in this way was the right answer for us.
So November 2019, we opened our store in Caldwell. March 2020, we closed our store in Caldwell to the public, as with all of our stores, because of COVID. And we had to pivot really, really hard, really, really fast if we wanted to survive as a store.
Yeah, so March 20th, 2020, we closed to the public at all locations. And that was a Saturday. And then Monday. March 22nd, we opened as an online only and local delivery bookstore.
You could call us.
Oh, yeah, actually, no, we had people on the phones. We spent a lot of time on the phones. And we converted kind of over those 2 days to that was our model. And we spent, we drove all over the valley.
I've been to so many places in the valley I never even knew existed, and so many subdivisions.
And I don't want to do it again, but I'm going to treasure it, because being able to actually go out into the neighborhoods and to see the incredible variety of people who care about books and reading and local bookstores was awesome.
It was really
yeah,
amazing.
And the people would still be out in the yards. You know, we would leave books and send a text, "Hey, here it is," and then we get the text back saying thank you, and
they come out wave
and it was cool.
It has also been just the amazing, once again, people who are our colleagues being willing to step up and say, I never signed up to be a delivery driver when I signed up to work at the bookstore. I never signed up to spend all day at the computer processing web orders. I never signed up, but I'm willing to do this because this is something that is important to me.
Actually, I'm still in awe of the amazing resilience of our booksellers as we all went through so many changes, and often these changes were daily. Oh, we figured out how to do this piece. Oh, and we have to change this thing. Oh, we've added a shipping thing. This is this here, and this constant undulating change that they walked with us and stayed with us. I'm amazingly grateful.
Yeah, I love what we get to do. We are so lucky that we get to work together. We get to work with in an industry that we love, and that we get to deal with putting books in people's hands. I feel so lucky every day that I get to come to work and do this.
We have a lot more years to go, and I'm pretty happy about that.